today with Teresa Cover. She is a certified natural health professional. She is the owner of Earth's Natural Defense based here in Hastings. Teresa, thanks for coming on the show today.
Oh, and thank you for having me, Tom.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So we were talking a little bit off camera here about what you do and what you like to do. And you've done a lot of training, but essentially it just boils down to trying to make people feel better.
Yes, yes, and getting to the root cause.
Maybe run us through the things that you uh, tend to help people with.
Right. It's headaches, stomach ache, gas, bloating, muscle aches, lots and lots of headaches, lots of afternoon fatigue, things like that. And it can go beyond that. Weight, especially after, this whole last year of being locked at home with COVID, people have gained lots of extra pounds and aren't quite sure best way to get rid of it. All those kind of things. Depression is at an all-time high.
Is depression, anxiety, those types of things, is that typically one of the bigger items?
It is now. I didn't up to this point receive too many phone calls in that arena until of late. And but there's a great takeaway tip here for people. Just one simple thing that they can do on their own at home, which is a huge help, is take your shoes off, and it's called earthing. And stand in the grass. We live in Minnesota, so we can only do this a few times or a few months a year.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like a mechanic knows. If you take a car battery out of a car and put it on the garage floor, it's going to drain. It's going to kill itself. You'll have a dead battery. Well, it works like that when you take the shoes off and stand in the earth. It helps take all the anxiety away, or helps. But it's a great tool, and not many people know about it. But it's called earthing. If anybody wants to look it up.
Okay. Okay. So is that when you refer to someone as being down to earth? Would that be a good?
Oh, you no. That's a comical way to look at it. But
I
yeah,
have to
it's
find a joke out of everything. Yeah. So,
exactly
okay.
right.
Cool. So when people come in to talk with you, Teresa, and they have depression or anxiety, or they're just not really sure what, they just don't feel good. They just don't feel
Right.
very well. What sorts of questions or what sort of analysis do you run them through? What's kind of your steps 1 through 10 of what you do with people when they come to see you?
Right. Well, it's a whole process, and it's a health information form that I have them fill out, which would give me kind of like a bird's eye view of your lifestyle. What do you eat? Do you drink? How often do you sleep? How much water do you take in? How many times do you eat out? It's a full analysis and looking at the full picture,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't treat, cure, or prevent any one thing. But when you're looking at a root cause, you're trying to find all the factors that could play a part of why you're having any of the discomforts you're having.
Yeah.
And so then we address it from that point. So the biggest thing is the health analysis and just looking at the full picture and getting some ideas. And, there's different levels of what we can do. There's a lot of deficiencies in life.
Mm-hmm.
An example is, 80 to 92% of people in America are deficient in vitamin D. 83% of people are deficient in magnesium. These are major components of your system. So if you're running a deficiency, of course, there's going to be things that are going to be out of whack because of that.
Okay.
So we address those issues. And then, of course, look at water intake. And water is a big one. People don't realize how big that is. And good water.
Yeah.
If prunes became raisins because they were dehydrated. Well, that's kind of the same way you could look at your organs inside your body. If you're not hydrating, you're taking your prunes and making them raisins.
Okay.
Clients of all ages are welcome. I work with children, I work with preteens, I work with adults. These conditions is a huge issue for me all the way through. I've had skin issues since I was 16. and we're talking a lot of years. I struggled with this for years. Years ago, I went to anybody and everybody who would listen, pay attention, and various diagnoses. But the favorite one for skin condition is we're going to give you some prednisone and we'll send you home. And of course, you feel wonderful when you're taking prednisone.
Mhm.
But it doesn't alleviate the root problem, and your conditions will come back. And the severity of how I break out is amazing. So I learned how to take care of these things naturally, and have been so much better for it, because when you're looking at skin issues, you're definitely looking at gut deficiencies. Maybe need to get some good bacteria going again, and things of that nature. I had inhalers because I got bronchitis 3 times a year very faithfully. One year I lost my voice box for 9 months, sound
Oh
like
my
Minnie
gosh.
Mouse.
Okay.
And the doctor had told me that, one more good bout of bronchitis and that hard coughing, that I could lose my voice box forever.
Jeez.
So I had
That's not
every
good.
kind of inhaler, short term, long term, steroid inhalers. I had nebulizers that had the same type of
Oh,
um, medications, and all the skin things that I had to have on hand. Yeah, it was no easy task. Certainly much better today.
well, good, good. Well, that's certainly good to hear. And that's frightening, possibly losing your voice. And obviously, you have other issues where, um, your health is, without our health, we really have very little else, because we can't really,
That is so true.
you know?
That is so true. Because what it alters, and when I say alters, I'll give you another example. When my children were 5 and 10-ish, I had some serious issues at that point going on. I couldn't touch meat or vegetables in a grocery store because of the things that they were coated with. And if I tried to make just a simple hamburger patty, or go out barbecuing, I always had to have somebody else make the patties because I'd break out.
Oh, wow.
And so it was. And now today, I can do all that, and no interference, which is a blessing. So yeah, it does. It alters way too many things. And then when you're feeling that bad all the time, you tend to rest more. You're not as active with your children. You don't want to go out as much. It affects a lot of things.
Right, right. And your work and your family and your just recreation as far as, yeah, you can't make a hamburger. That's,
Right.
and you live in Minnesota, you want to be outside barbecuing and having fun, and
Right.
that's
Well, and allergies is a big one.
allergies. Yeah.
You know, allergies. I had allergies and asthma at one point really bad too. And not that I don't want to be misleading and say, "Ah, it's perfect, they're all gone." That's not true. But what I do have left over is I went from that person that if my neighbor cut his grass, my eyes were swollen shut and I was sneezing, and I carry a box of Kleenex around with me everywhere I went about. And today I've got it down to, in the early morning, I will sneeze maybe 3, 4 times and I'm done.
Okay.
So
Okay.
huge, huge improvements. And that's the kind of movement you can make. And when you go down the list of things you could be experiencing from just simple inflammation in your system, you have your acne, allergies, anxiety, arthritis, asthma, diabetes, dermatitis, headaches, high blood pressure. All these things come from an underlying source that
Yeah.
you can work with, and you can start to alter things and feel better. And so I am a shape reclaim practitioner. This program is all about health restoration and lifestyle modification. The nice thing about this is it is not a weight loss program. It's all about restoring the health from, deep down. But the side benefit, which everybody loves, is that you will end up shedding excess poundage, because the shape program itself, the drops that you take are dealing with the inflammation, toxicity, immune deficiencies. And then the bonus of that is that you will shed excess weight while you're correcting these issues.
Cool. That's great. That's great.
Yes, big
Okay.
help. So, and then I go down into products. One of the things I'm very proud of and offer nothing but try to offer nothing but the best. And I have a great vitamin line, but the first one up here is homeopathic remedies for kids. Um, Oleus puts out a great homeopathic remedy for kids, and they have several different products in from ear pain to gas relief to sinus issues. But homeopathic remedies don't have all the bad stuff in it, so there's no leftovers or nothing else going to affect anything else when you take these products. So moms can really trust and rely on these products.
Yeah.
And then I also carry a homeopathic for adults, and they're called homeopathic single medications. They're organic and lactose free. Oleus is the only one in the United States that actually produces an organic and homeopathic lactose free remedy. They hit a multitude of problems. And then another way to help people decide what could be useful for them is they have this wheel.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, you can move this to the ailment, and the wheel itself will focus on women digestive, pain, skin, sleeplessness, stress, and ear, nose, and throat. So there's a wide variety of options. And the
Yeah.
neat thing about homeopathic remedies that people don't know is that it doesn't affect anything else you may be taking. So you don't have to worry about it interacting with other medications that you may be on or
Okay.
things of that nature. So that's it, it's more, it sets people at ease.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Um,
Yes.
is that a question that you get often as far as people who are maybe seeing a medical doctor and they are on different prescriptions for whether it's anxiety or some sort of pain or whatever it might be, heart issue or something like that? Do you see what you're doing, Teresa, as a compliment to what a medical professional, a medical doctor would, more of a traditional medical approach? Do you see it as more of a compliment, or do you see it as eventually almost a replacement, something that people can do instead of?
Well, first of all, people have that option and freedom to make these choices, which is still, beautiful in America. But is what happens is that we kind of look at it from two different angles. Western medicine handles things and looks at it from symptoms. They help and relieve symptoms. Somebody like me who does what I do, we look at, I don't need to know exact, well, I mean, it helps me determine, but I mean, I don't look at the symptoms. I want to know why you have those symptoms and what's causing that.
Yeah.
And so we really do approach it from two different arenas. And now if we balance your body, you may experience that you may not need things as much as you thought you needed, but still encourage you highly. You work with your physician. And I'll give you an example. I have a lady that was a diabetic for 30 years. I should say is a diabetic for 30 years.
Okay.
But somewhere along the way, she decided that she was going to stop taking her insulin. She was all done with this. Now, I don't recommend that. I
No.
mean, that it's very dangerous, but she did it. And she now has been controlling her system with foods, supplements, and um, did a lot of things to make her insides work again. And she was lucky. She was one of
Yeah.
these that it worked. And it would not work for everybody, but there's so much balancing you can do. But if you work very closely with your physician and me, you can find differences. And yes, it should be complementary. Um, you have high blood pressure for say, they give you high blood pressure medicine. I would, suggest, if you can walk 20 minutes a day, walking 20 minutes a day scientifically is proven to lower your blood pressure by possible 10 points.
Yeah.
Lemon water is a real big help in that arena. So, I mean, it's just the way we tackle it is just different, but both vital. I mean, I do the balancing, and you can, work with your physician. And of course, there's things that are just so big that we can work. You may never get off medications. You may never be able to get off medications, but what you can do is make it better.
Okay. Okay. Or maybe you don't need as much of a medication as you would have had you
Exactly.
done something with you. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. So it sounds like traditional Western medicine is more of a reactive thing,
Then a proactive.
and this is more
Yes.
proactive. So along those lines, when we talk about Western medicine, is homeopathy, and I want to get into the definition of that too. The people may not know. Homeopathy, is that more of an Eastern philosophy or of an Eastern approach, or would you describe it that way?
Well, it started in Germany. What people should know is that it's all based around the person's own innate ability to heal within themselves. And it's called the law of similar because they believe that whatever caused the disease could actually help remedy the disease. And it's been practiced since the early 1800s. And what was most interesting and just kind of a fun little fact in the background is that the family doctor of Queen Elizabeth is a homeopathic physician.
Oh, okay.
So, and over time, it's gained great popularity. Once people try it, I mean, it's very foreign to some people.
Hmm.
I had the unfortunate, my first encounter with homeopathic remedies, I broke out in hives, and they make a homeopathic remedy to relieve itching and scratching and all that. And I would take it, and 20 minutes later, it wouldn't itch for like several hours.
Wow.
And very, very useful. And like the coverage is huge. I mean, they have homeopathic remedies for headaches and sinus and sleep and almost anything you can think of.
Okay.
And again, it's like all medications on the Western side. Not all of them will work for everybody, but they do work. And when it works for you, it's wonderful. And it's a nice option because, like I said, it doesn't alter anything else. It doesn't deplete other body
Right.
systems and cause havoc.
Okay.
So the other thing that we use really strongly in this field is essential oils. Essential oils is another thing that not everybody is familiar with, but it's been around for many centuries, actually.
Okay.
But the most important takeaway about essential oils is that there's perfumer's grade, what we call it, and there's therapeutic grade. And the difference between these two is that a vast majority of essential oils that are out in public or at everyday grocery stores are typically perfumer grade. And what that means is they're just great for smell.
Yeah.
But they've been high heated under a lot of pressure, and they've been adulterated with other things to make them smell the way they do.
Okay.
A therapeutic essential oil is steam distilled or cold pressed, and there's no adulteration. They are typically third party tested, and you have three means of using these. You can do aromatic, you can do it neat on the skin, which means just putting it directly on the skin,
Hmm.
and some of them you can actually ingest. And
Oh,
if
okay.
you if you're getting to the level of something that you're going to actually take internally, you want to secure the fact that you have a good therapeutic essential oil that isn't adulterated with other things. The perfumer grade oils can actually cause more harm, and that can be detrimental. And
Sure.
um, I picked, I have doTERRA oils, and I picked them solely because me and my family. I use these with my children. I use them with my grandchildren, and I use them also. Trust me, I'm not going to take anything that's questionable. So these are the ones that I just found to be the best for me, the ones I trust. I know they're third party tested, and and I don't use essential oils for aroma in my house.
Yeah.
I use them therapeutically. It goes anywhere from uh, acid reflux, acne, asthma, cuts, scrapes, dandruff, all the way through. Hay
Wow.
fevers, fatigue, hormones. Hormone balancing is really interesting. I've had a lot of people that have hot flash problems, going through menopause.
Yeah.
And there's a oil out there called clary sage, and there's actually a video that is available on the internet, and it actually shows how blood clots are really tight and it all stuck together. And 20 minutes after they put the essential oil on their feet, you can watch the blood just kind of start to flow separately again.
Wow.
And the reports are very quick on that. People don't necessarily feel all that the backlash from the hot flashes, which helps them
Oh,
sleep and,
great.
and just operate through their day better.
Yeah.
So they're quite extensive. And unfortunately, some of the things that we have gotten into in the Western world, such as, bad food, bad water, bad um, lifestyles, unfortunately, we have more of a problem with menopause than, like, say, back in the early or late 1800s. People didn't experience near the problems, but
Right.
that's again why we do what we do, is because it's some things only come along because you're immune deficient, or you have so much toxicity, or you have a high inflammation level. If those things come back down into check, you don't feel things quite like you would if you just leave your body as it is. One of the favorite questions I get is, if I want to use essential oil, what are your 10 best ones? So I listed the 10 best ones here, and just a few of them is, frankincense,
Yeah.
lavender, lemon, melaleuca. So if you're looking to learn about them and see what value they have behind them, I did list the top 10. And of course, I have lots of information in the office for anybody who's interested.
Perfect.
And then we get down to one of the other products I carry is the supplements. I chose the line of supplements that I have because they are, it's quality. Quality is huge,
Yeah.
and third party tested. But one of the biggest problems you run into with supplements out on the market is that they say that they have this, this, and this in them, but actually, by the time they're processed and the synthetics and everything else that comes with them, they actually don't have what they promise in them. The vitamins I carry, or supplements I carry, in comparison to Centrum, 50 times higher in vitamin B, 25 times higher in B6,
Hmm.
12 times higher in B12. So you can see from a Centrum on the market to what I carry, the quality difference is huge. Take your health back. It's 3 easy steps. Schedule an appointment, complete a health assessment, and receive a plan. And you'll have a personalized plan because everybody's body is so vastly different.
Yes.
What works for you is not necessarily going to work for the next person. So we really work on individualizing a plan for people, so they get the best and quickest results.
Absolutely. Well, that's very encouraging to hear, Teresa, that you have, so many different options for people. And I think the first thing is, and like you said, is just have that conversation. If you're
That's it.
yeah, experiencing something, just sit down and talk with you, and you have the experience and the training and the background, just to say, okay, well, I'm feeling my back hurts, or I have
Mhm.
some anxiety issues or depression or whatever it might be, and sit down and talk with Teresa and um, see what can be done.
I am going to start in the very near future, is having mini classes available to people who want to come and learn. I have a conference room here that holds 14 people, And I would like to start a series of mini informational sessions. And
Sure.
an example, it would be one session on sleep, one session on cholesterol, one on anxiety levels, and give people little bits and things that they can do to help themselves. Teach people why the oil you choose to cook with is good or bad. So we're going to be starting these mini classes as soon as things open up enough where people are comfortable.
Yeah.
And so those will be fun, and they'll be, some of them will be free, some of them will be low price, like $5.
Sure.
So they can come in, they'll leave with information and just keep getting exposed to a little bit by a little bit. And if anybody has any great ideas of things that they'd love to learn about, shoot me an email and I'd be happy to put that class together for people. Because if
Okay.
you're wondering about it, there's 50 other people that are too.
Right. Right. So a good phone number for you in case people wanted to get in touch with you, Teresa.
651 get well.
Wow. You managed to get that number, huh? That's
I
perfect.
did. I did. Well, I knew the universe was with me really when I called, because my whole thing the day I called to get the number was I wanted 437 438. Well, I wasn't even thinking. It was a friend that pointed it out to me. And he said, "You got it." And I said, "What do you mean I got it?" And he goes, "You got it. You got the full number." He said, 651 get well. And I said, "Oh, thank you, God." Because I was not aware of it actually at first. I got the last four numbers that I wanted,
Uh-huh.
not even realizing that the first three were perfect too.
That's
So
hilarious. No, that's really good. That's really good. Um, well, again, Teresa, thank you so much for your time on the show, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
thank you, Tom. I appreciate you too.